Hey, what is up, mortals? It is JSatwekar here, and welcome to part 4 of What If Aizawa Was in 1A. Just wanted to greet you guys by saying sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. And so we begin. The students of Class 1A gathered in their homeroom, wondering what new challenges awaited them today. They were also worried about All Might's special training for the low scores on the quirk test. All Might entered the room in his usual goofy way and began the class.
All right, class. First, let me say that I promised that those that received low scores on the quirk test would receive special training. But I was so impressed by your performance yesterday that the low scores are safe.
The low scores, which included Jiro, Kaminari, Koda, and Hagakure, gasped in relief. None of them were looking forward to the kind of training such a buff hero could put them through. All Might then continued.
Instead, everyone gets special training!
The class then roared in outrage at this statement. After the class had calmed down to a dull roar, All Might zipped around the room at high speed. He deposited a pamphlet on each of the students' desks.
As you all know, I talked with young Midoriya and Aizawa the other day about placing them in special training to properly develop their quirks. After that discussion, I realized that while this class is full of potential, you will all not reach your full potential if I go easy on you. So I stayed up late last night making these impressive training schedules for each of you. I call this my Aim to Pass American Dream Plan.
Class 1A marveled at how detailed the plans were. It included everything from their diets to their studying time.
These plans are custom made to fit each of you. I developed these based not only on the results of the quirk test, but also on your student files. Each of these plans has been made so that your progress over the next year will be swift but manageable. It will be super hard. I hope you are ready for this, Class 1A.
All Might then gave a thumbs up to his class. Aizawa looked through his plan. Sticking to this plan would be extremely difficult, but not impossible. Aizawa found that the plan was very rational. Given that All Might tended to act so ridiculous most of the time, Aizawa was impressed that he had created such a well-thought-out regiment. Aizawa then looked around the classroom. He could see that the scope of what they were about to go through was dawning on his classmates. The dark-haired boy saw that Kaminari was in full freak-out mode. Jiro seemed pensive, and the invisible girl seemed to have lost her mind. Then Aizawa looked at the front of the class and saw both Midoriya and Bakugo. These two were not worried, but determined. It seemed that many of their classmates noticed this reaction. The whole class then shifted to being more stoked for the coming year. As the class came to grips with their new training plans, All Might spoke again.
Now that all of that is out of the way, we have some very important business to tend to.
A huge smile broke out across All Might's face.
Today, we start your Hero Academia with combat training.
The class went from nervous to excited. The more enthusiastic members of 1A jumped from their seats to exclaim their joy. Bakugo rose from his seat and said that he would defeat every one of his classmates. This statement was received with less joy. All Might then cleared his throat.
It is important that if you are going to be heroes, that you look the part.
The blonde hero then hit a button on his desk that opened panels on the wall of the classroom. The opened panels revealed suitcases with numbers on them.
These are your hero costumes. They were made from the designs you submitted with your entrance paperwork. Now go get changed and meet at Field Beta.
The number 1 hero said all of this with the large amount of enthusiasm that the students had come to expect from the blonde hero. The students then regrouped at Field Beta as instructed. They entered the battle stage in their costumes in a very heroic fashion. Uraraka then commented, "Deku, I really like your costume. I wish I'd been more detailed in my design. This tight fit is not really my thing." The round-faced girl said this while blushing and rubbing the back of her head. Aizawa could tell that Midoriya had the same thought. He remained quiet at the girl's comment. He did not think that it was rational to make a comment on a comment, and he was interested in seeing what his green-haired friend would say to the pink-cheeked girl. Midoriya took a deep breath and responded, "Actually, I think that the space theme goes really, really well with your gravity quirk. The color scheme is very iconic, and I think it makes you look really cute." This comment caused the brunette to blush fiercely. She managed to say, Thank you, Deku.
Alright, you two. We need to focus.
Aizawa was decked out in a black jumpsuit, black boots, his capture weapon around his neck, and a utility belt around his waist. Aizawa, your costume is kind of dark. You look like a ninja. Uraraka had a puzzled look on her face.
Aizawa glared at the girl in irritation. It was the most rational design. I do not plan on being a flash hero in the public eye. Any resemblance it has to a ninja is just a happy coincidence.
Both Midoriya and Uraraka stared at Aizawa with questioning looks on their faces. All Might then broke up the friendly banter.
Welcome to Field Beta, Class 1A. Don't all of you look heroic?
All Might repressed the urge to comment that Midoriya's costume made him look like a cross between himself and Gumby. All Might then whipped out a piece of paper from his pocket and read the directions for the exercise. The class would be divided into pairs. The teams would then be divided into heroes and villains. The villains would protect a bomb in an enclosed room. The hero team would then have to capture the villains with capture tape or grab the weapon to win. The villains would win if the 15-minute time limit ran out or the heroes were captured.
Sir, wouldn't it be better if we did this in the open rather than in a building?
The news and other media always show heroes and villains in battle in the open. The truth is that most confrontations take place indoors. Dark basements, shady back rooms, abandoned warehouses. Plus, this exercise will help you learn how to use your quirks effectively in confined space.
The frog girl nodded her head in understanding. All Might then had the students draw lots to divide them into teams. Deku was teamed with Uraraka, which made the green-haired boy incredibly happy. Aizawa was teamed up with a tall girl with a long black ponytail. The girl's name was Momo Yaoyorozu. This happened because Mineta did not get into Class 1A, because Aizawa passed the entrance test with higher scores. All Might then placed a black box and a white box in front of the class. The muscular hero then drew a ball with a number on each one. This would determine who played the hero and who played the villain. The drawing had the team of Midoriya and Uraraka playing the heroes, and Bakugo and Ida playing the villains. The rest of the students were told that they could watch the matches from the observation room with All Might. As Aizawa retreated to the observation room, a sinister smile covered his face. He thought to himself that this was Midoriya's chance to show Bakugo just how far he had come. This should be an interesting match. Midoriya and Uraraka stood outside the building where their classmates hid their explosive payload. The tension of the situation was starting to get to Midoriya. Hey Deku, this is kind of exciting, isn't it? The round-faced girl then looked over at Deku. Her tone went straight to panic. Whoa, what's wrong? You're sweating through your costume. Midoriya was trembling when he stated, This is the first time I have faced Kacchan in a head-to-head battle like this. It makes me nervous, but at the same time, I'm also excited by the chance. I want to show Kacchan that I'm a new person, a new Deku. The words from the green-haired boy moved Uraraka. His words had a strange power that made her want to win this exercise. Let's win this, Deku! After what I saw you do at the entrance exam and the quirk test, I know we can win! Uraraka's words had a certainty that would have made Bakugo seem mellow. The brunette's words energized Midoriya with a new confidence. Okay, Uraraka, let's do this! All right! And with that exclamation, the two teammates entered the building through a first-floor window. Both Midoriya and Uraraka crept around the first few floors for several minutes. Their plan was to find the base of their enemies in the large building and then ambush them. Their plan was going fine until a loud voice rang through the empty hallways.
Deku, where are you hiding? Come out and face me, you weakling!
Back in the observation room, Aizawa was watching the match unfold. It did not surprise Aizawa that Bakugo opted for the head-on approach, though Aizawa did think that Bakugo's decision was highly irrational. But Aizawa knew from the look on Bakugo's face that he was not thinking rationally. He was probably determined to prove his strength and dominance over Midoriya in this exercise.
What is he thinking? Bakugo is all about fighting. In his mind, being a hero means facing a challenge head-on. It'd be an admirable quality, if not for his abrasive personality. Seems to me like he's really full of himself. That too. On the battlefield, Midoriya grabbed Uraraka's shoulder. This action made the brunette flinch. Deku pulled the girl in close and told her in a hushed tone, "Uraraka, I'm going to confront Kacchan. You sneak off while he's distracted."
But wouldn't it be better if we attacked him together?
No. If we both stayed and confronted him, then the clock would probably run out. If we went around him to find Ida, then he could attack us from behind. Me taking him on is the best solution for now. Go find Ida and radio me when you do." Uraraka nodded and turned the corner and went up a flight of stairs to the next floor. Midoriya walked out from his hiding place. "I am here, Kacchan. Let's do this." Midoriya stood confidently with his hands raised in front of him in a fighting pose. "Deku, you worthless weakling. I don't know what the power of yours is, but it's not enough to make you better than me." Bakugo's eyes were searing with pure rage as the words exited his mouth. Bakugo used his explosions to propel himself toward Midoriya. The blonde teen reached out with his right hand to deliver an explosive strike to Midoriya's side. But Bakugo was surprised that Midoriya caught his blow before it landed. "Call me Deku all you want, Kacchan. I'm not going to be your punching bag anymore. From now on, Deku is the name of a hero." With that, Midoriya delivered a powerful punch to Bakugo's gut. The atomic blonde grasped his stomach and retreated down the hall. The thought of Midoriya being this strong was inconceivable to him. He always thought of Midoriya as a bug that he could have crushed at any time. Bakugo refused to believe that a quirkless loser could be his equal. It must be a trick. "So strong now. If that's the case, then I don't have to hold back." Bakugo raised his bracers. He explained that they were designed to store his explosive sweat so he could make bigger explosions. All Might then came onto Bakugo's earpiece to reprimand the boy. "Bakugo, letting off a huge explosion like this is extremely dangerous to you and your classmates. Don't do it. The nerd will be fine if he dodges." With that comment, Bakugo let off a massive explosion that engulfed the whole hallway in fire and ash. Back in the observation room, Aizawa and the rest of the class were dumbstruck by the sight. Denki Kaminari was the first to speak. "Do you think they're all right?" Aizawa recovered from his shock and regained his rational composure. "All Might, sir, can you get a different camera angle?" All Might then hit some buttons on the console, and a different camera came into view. What the camera showed was more shocking than the explosion. It showed Midoriya standing over a hog-tied Bakugo, with the hallway being totally wrecked from the explosion. Wondering how that happened, All Might rewound the recording and played it at super slow motion. The recording showed that the moment that Bakugo pulled the pin on his bracers, Midoriya had a burst of speed. He came up behind Bakugo and landed several hits on the blonde. The green-haired boy then restrained the bomb-palmed boy with capture tape. Aizawa knew that Midoriya had improved greatly since inheriting One for All, but what he saw on the tape was extraordinary. Aizawa was going to triple his efforts if he was going to keep up. As Aizawa looked around the room, he could see that his classmates were having the same thought. Back on the field, Midoriya stood over the disabled Bakugo. The green-haired boy's radio buzzed to life in his ear.
"Deku, are you all right? What was that loud noise?"
"I'm all right, Uraraka. That was the sound of me taking down Kacchan. Have you found Ida and the bomb?"
"I'm glad you're okay. I found Ida in the device on the 6th floor, but he kind of found me. Do you think you can come help? I can't get close to him. He's just too fast."
"Okay, I'm on my way." Midoriya then took off at full speed. He took the stairs to the 6th floor. He then followed the noise of the confrontation and got an idea. "Uraraka, where are you in the room?" Midoriya called on his radio.
"I'm against the back wall opposite the door."
"Good. When I give the signal, either grab the bomb or disable Ida, whichever one seems fastest. You will only have a moment, so be quick."
"Okay, but what is the signal?"
"You'll know it when you see it." Ida continued to dodge around the room, keeping the bomb out of reach of Uraraka. Just as the brunette thought the time was going to run out, the entire wall came crashing into the room.
Uraraka thought that must be the signal. She then ran toward the confused Ida and placed her hand on his chest armor. The blue-haired boy then floated 2 feet off the ground. He was then restrained with capture tape by both Midoriya and Uraraka. And with that, the exercise ended. At that point, Midoriya grabbed his arm. His face wore an expression of extreme discomfort. It was discovered that Midoriya had received several microfractures to his arms and legs. All Might told Midoriya to go see Recovery Girl. Once the green-haired boy was healed, he could return to the observation room. With that, Midoriya went off to Recovery Girl, while Bakugo, Uraraka, and Ida returned to the observation room. All Might asked,
"So, class, who do you think the MVP of this exercise was?"
Momo Yaoyorozu stepped forward with the answer. "Sir, the MVP of this exercise is Tenya Ida. Let me explain. While Midoriya and Uraraka did win the exercise with excellent teamwork, they both made major mistakes. Midoriya was able to disable Bakugo, but only after Bakugo dealt massive damage to the building. Such actions could have endangered lives. Bakugo's major mistake was using such a large attack in a confined area. Such a move undermined his team's objective. Uraraka's poor composure gave away her presence to the enemy, but Ida took the exercise seriously. He prepared his area to face his opponents and acted accordingly when he was discovered. While Ida's team did lose, he was the only one who accomplished the goals of this exercise." The whole class stood dumbfounded at Yaoyorozu's analysis of the battle. Aizawa himself was most impressed by the breakdown of events. It was a most rational review. He liked that. All Might was left speechless. He managed to regain his composure enough to comment,
"Well, you missed a few points. Like Ida could have relaxed a bit. Other than that, good job."
The matches then continued. Finally, Midoriya returned from Recovery Girl. His costume was missing both gloves and sleeves. Both his arms were bandaged up to his shoulders. But other than that, the green-haired boy seemed to be in good shape. Aizawa said,
"In one piece again?"
Midoriya responded, "Yeah, used a little too much power against Kacchan. I need to be more careful until my body can take more." Aizawa approved of Midoriya's overview of his performance. The sleepy-eyed boy gave the green-haired boy a simple nod of approval. Aizawa needed to focus on his own match. He was teamed with Yaoyorozu. The 2 serious students would face off against Jiro and Kaminari. Uraraka saw Midoriya enter the room and waved to him.
Hey, Deku, good to see that you're healed up.
"Yeah, Recovery Girl healed me, but told me that I had to be more careful in the future. So, what about the next match? Who's fighting against who?"
Well, this is the last match. Aizawa and Yaoyorozu are going against Jiro and Kaminari. I wonder which team will win. Both sides seem pretty equal.
Knowing Aizawa as well as I do, he will already have a plan on how to deal with Jiro and Kaminari.
You really think so, Deku?
Yeah, when it comes to quick applications, Aizawa may be even better at it than Kacchan. With this surprising assessment, the final match began. On the field, Aizawa and Yaoyorozu discussed the best plan of action for this exercise. Yaoyorozu believed that their best bet was to barricade the door and let the clock run down, since their opponents had no real way of breaking into a locked room. Aizawa agreed with this plan, but he suggested one change.
"You barricade the entrances once I enter the hallways. Your quirk will let you defend the device better than mine will. It's more rational for me to try to disable our opponents before they arrive. My quirk and fighting style are best fit for sneak attacks, not head-on assaults."
Yaoyorozu was impressed by the dark-haired boy's proposal. She agreed to his change in plan. So Aizawa took to the shadows of the dimly lit building, and Yaoyorozu fortified their base. Jiro and Kaminari entered the building. Jiro used her quirk to seek out the location of her opponents. She could hear that someone was approaching their location. She told Kaminari to be ready. As the punk girl said those words, a flash grenade landed at their feet and went off. The burst of light blinded the 2 students. Kaminari then heard Jiro shout in defiance. When his eyesight returned, the purple-haired girl was gone. Kaminari started to freak out. The electric teen looked around the dark hallway, wondering what was going on. It was then that Aizawa lowered himself from the ceiling on his capture scarf like a deranged Spider-Man. He came down just behind Kaminari. Got you. And with those 2 words, Aizawa wrapped Kaminari from neck to ankles in his capture scarf. The yellow-haired boy began to scream at the top of his lungs. Aizawa completed the capture by wrapping the capture tape around Kaminari's mouth to shut the panicking teen up. Aizawa then hit his radio and contacted Yaoyorozu.
Both heroes have been disabled. We won.
All Might signaled that Aizawa and Yaoyorozu had won the match. Aizawa unwrapped Jiro and Kaminari from their bindings. The 4 students then rejoined their class and teacher in the observation room.
Good job, everyone. But the MVP of this exercise is young Aizawa. You managed to disable your opponent quickly. This allowed your team to win the exercise. Jiro and Kaminari, keep in mind that villains will do anything to succeed, even kill you. So you must expect anything and everything in any situation.
All Might paused to let his advice sink in. He then raised his hand in a thumbs-up gesture.
Good job today, everyone! You showed just how much potential you have as heroes. But you also showed just how much work you have left to do.
The class was honored by the #1 hero's praise.
Now, let me teach you one last thing. How a hero exits a room! Like he has somewhere to be!
The buff hero then took off running, leaving a cloud of smoke in his wake. Class 1A made their way to the locker rooms to change out of their costumes. Aizawa still thought that All Might was a glory-seeking fool, and that his teaching methods were amateurish, but his methods were effective. This exercise had gotten the students to cooperate with each other in ways that heroes would have to. He was eager to see what the #1 hero had planned for the rest of the year. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in the story thus far. Hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. First, we've got a second channel called Anime Deep Dive. Anime Deep Dive goes deep into the facts and lore of a wide variety of anime. It's sure to expand your weeb knowledge for all kinds of series, guaranteed. On top of that, we have a third channel called We the Celestials Naruto What Ifs. It's what we do on this channel already, but in the vast world and lore of Naruto. Go check it out if you're in the mood for some jutsu action. I'd like to let all of you know, on behalf of We the Celestials, that I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. If you're perhaps interested in what we do here at WTC, then I would like to extend out an invitation to join the team. The only caveat being we only accept members 16 and older to join our crew. You can find us on our Discord, which you can locate in the description below. Our Discord is an all-around fantastic place to be, whether you're a fan or looking to join our band of misfits. All you gotta do is hit up the recruitment server and sign up for whichever category of work that fulfills your interests. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video, so thank you all for watching and have a great day.